Hey everybody, welcome to the next in the Apex interview series. I'm Tim Britton. If you haven't joined us before, welcome to the Apex channel. This is the opportunity for you to have a deep dive and meet some of the competitors that are taking part on the Apex challenge, which is to scale the Helvellyn Peak 9.2 times in a 48-hour window, accumulating the total height of Mount Everest. So it's quite a challenge to say the least. And we have got all manners of different types of people. And the wonderful woman that I have got lined up this morning to have a chat with is Sandra, or as I've now been told, I'm allowed to call her Mrs. G. And to say that I've been checking out this lady's social media and following her, and she's now actually one of our ambassadors here at the Apex channel. And I kind of, think she has this infectious smile when you look at her. She doesn't know I'm saying any of this. She's kind of waiting in the wings, so she didn't know I was going to say any of these things. But she has this infectious smile. So whenever you see anything of her, any of her social, she's just got this great smile. And there's also a post that she put out there saying that you spend most of your life in your head. So make it a happy place, make it a good place. And I was like, oh my, I love the attitude and the ethos of this lady. So I can't wait to get a little bit more information on how everything started. So without further ado, I would love to introduce you to the wonderful Mrs. G. So thank you so much for joining us. And congratulations, first of all, on becoming our ambassador for the Apex Challenge as well. And you know, representing us and kind of being one of our shining lights for helping try to bring other people onto the challenge and stuff as well. So I suppose the first thing that we should kind of do is just find out if you would just a little bit of background on yourself and kind of how you got into sort of fitness and challenges and the outdoor world and all things like that.
Well, thank you. I'm very excited to be part of the team. When I've seen the post, it was just everything what I'm about. It's about the challenge, you know. It's just not the challenge what you're racing against other people, but it's a challenge for you racing within yourself, you know. And so I'm very excited to see what it brings.
Of some of the little information you gave me before, you did kind of the London Marathon back in 2016. Am I right in saying that?
So I got the ballot place in 2016. So I ran a marathon itself in 2017.
Oh, okay, right, yeah.
Yeah, so just that's where I guess my journey, the more serious journey of running started. So once I got the ballot, so obviously then I thought, well, now I need to train to be able to run a full marathon.
And so so before you did like try to enter the marathon, had you been into fitness and exercise and things like that, or did it kind of start from that point on?
I've always been active, you know. At school, I was, you know, put forward to the sports teams, and but it was just only, you know, at school, just doing what you've been told almost. So it wasn't very active. So then, when I have my second child, I had my postnatal depression, and you know, I knew all of what needed to do. You know, you needed to interact with people, you needed to find a hobby, and I tried lots of different activities to get there, because, you know, motherhood can be quite lonely, especially with young children and new moms, you know, not just moms, but I guess dads as well. But so I tried to find my tribe. And it took me quite a long time. I tried Pilates, I tried yoga, I tried Zumba classes. But the one which really stuck to me at the time, it was beat camp. But I guess it was outside, it was community, it was being, you know, with like-minded people. So when I joined beat camp, it was really kind of lifted me up, and I always looked forward to that class, you know. But the only downside was I needed to drive about 25 minutes to one class and then back. So, you know, I needed an hour just to get there logistically. And at the time, you know, with children, so I needed to make sure, you know, I have a cover, you know, for childcare. So and then, but with beat camp, I was introduced to OCR. So
like the obstacle races. Yeah.
I know. Again, I just loved it. You know, give me mud anytime, and I'm there. And it was more, you know, the ethos. It was not about the going to be the, you know, the finish line first, but to be, you know, to be the team, to work together, to have a laugh, to get to know people, just because in those events, that's where you find friendships, and then you kind of start talking and then walking. So it's not necessarily just running. So it was brilliant way for me to start, and then I guess naturally growing and naturally wanting to progress. Like I started exercising myself, more, and now I have my home gym in the veranda where.
Yeah. So I'm gonna come on to this because there's another bit. So I'm gonna come on to your home gym and your
Okay.
kind of routine and stuff you've got, and I'm excited by this. So do you think that exercise was definitely kind of a contributing factor to you kind of overcoming and kind of getting through that difficult time in your life?
Definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely, 100%, and I've been on medication, which didn't help, and I guess I worked myself, what worked for me, not for everyone, it's for some people they need medication and that is fine, but for me, antidepressant didn't work. For me, the main medication was exercising and then doing events, which is obstacle course running at the time. So I guess when I found out, when I found my way how to cope with it, I just knew I'm not going to get out of it. It just was my way because I'm a bit as well. I like everything natural. So
yeah.
whatever it comes, with the feed, with the medication. But again, I can repeat this, over and over again. For some people need help with medication, and it's absolutely fine. But just for me, it's just.
Well, it's what I always think of it this way, and I always think of exercise, diet, nutrition, meditation, yoga, cold water therapy. They're all forms, in my mind, of medication. They're all forms of therapy. They're all forms of treatment for yourself. It's just different people respond to different treatments better than others, and some stuff will work for one, and some stuff won't work for another. But you've got to find that. But you've got to put yourself in the position to find those things. You've got to try those things. So, okay. So so that kind of helped you through that time. So the London Marathon 2017, that was the first kind of length kind of event you'd done. Moving through, you went into the obstacle races, but then so how did you then go from the obstacle races to think, because I know, because we were talking just before and you said that the longest kind of sort of to date piece you've done in a go is Hadrian's Wall, 70 miles. That's, it was over a couple of days. Did you say it was over?
No, it's 17 hours. I've done it in 17 hours, but it's I think the cutoff time, 25 hours. I
Okay.
can't be sure, but it's in one go. Yes.
Yeah.
So what happened? So again, browsing through internet, I think once you're interested in one thing, something pops up, and then you click one click, another click, and I came
Yeah.
across this company where it really, again, it's just it just interests me because it was not just trail running, but they would throw in some obstacles in between. It's like some part of the section you would need kayaking or jumping from a cliff. So I started doing almost every event what they offered. So this way we traveled around UK, just seeing completely different places where we haven't even thought, of visiting on holiday. So for us, it was really good escapism kind of holiday, but combined with my passion, I guess, for nature, and for adventure, and those long distance running for me is escapism. It's where you're not a mother, you're not a wife, you're not, it's you in your own space. You don't need to think about, chores. You don't need to think about, if you fed everyone, if if it's bedtime, or it's the only thing you have to do is look after yourself on that race, on that in that time, and how to finish the race, I guess. And then again, I'm very interested to seeing other places. Kids at the time were too small to do long hikes, and um, that's for me was again seeing the places where you can't drive by car, where you can't just take the lift, and takes you, to see the views. It was all my hard work. Now we done Snowdon, by lift, not by train, and it was completely different feeling when I've done it, with my own legs, where you put the hard work.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. The feelings and the sensations you get when you've managed to accomplish something that maybe you don't know you can do. And I always think this. So people often, when they say, "Oh, I want to do something, or I want to raise money, or I want to do something for charity, or I want to do an event," quite often there's two camps of people. There's the camp of people that go, "Okay, I'm going to play it kind of safe, and I might do like a 10K, or I might do a half marathon, because doing a marathon feels a bit daunting. It's 26.2 miles. It's so far." And I'm not taking away. Yes, of course, it is far. But then there's the other camp of people that go, "Well, if I'm going to run 13 miles, I might as well just run for 24. I might as well just see how far I can go." And that's the thing, you've got these two different ends of the scale, but it's always about finding those moments of endurance, finding those moments of realizing your body is capable, your mind is capable of so much more than, I'm going to call it, than the standard everyday world allows us to believe we're capable of. We can do so much more. Our bodies can do so much more, and they're designed to do so much more. So, okay, so this is the problem that's happening now. Every time I have an interview with people, I'm like, I could talk to this person for hours. I've got so many questions that I want to ask. Okay, so let's just kind of fast forward. So it got to, I've called it your 40 for 40, but it was actually kind of in your 39th year, you kind of made a decision that you wanted to mark that point in your life as well. So, and this was a few years ago, this was now, and you decided 40 challenges, would we say?
Yes, challenges.
Okay, so just tell us a little bit about how this idea came up and some of the things that you did.
Well, I always up for a challenge, and I think if somebody knows me, who knows me, we know if you give me an idea, I will work it out how to make it happen. Obviously with the limits, but and I was craving. I think 40 for any person, or any milestone for any person. It's very important, and I just wanted to mark that, that I'm still active, I'm full of energy, and I want to experience as many new things as possible. So I decided that in that year to do 40 challenges, but they're not just running challenges. So they were completely different challenges. Whereas I done powerlifting competition, so I taught myself for 3 months how to lift, and then I done skydiving, and then ultra marathon. So I've done a few abroad races where I wanted just to visit places, and one of them as well is Ironman, where it's just really challenging. And some of them, the challenges I've done, and looking back now, I think it's like out of body experience. I've done that, and I sometimes think how I've done it. It's very weird, but I would say peculiar feeling. While looking now at the videos and pictures, and I'm just like, I've been there, I've done that. But then sometimes I can't put them together how I done it.
Yeah.
So it's yeah.
So let me pick on one. I'm going to pick on the Ironman purely because I've had a similar kind of experience with the Ironmans as well. So which Ironman did you do?
It wasn't original Ironman as in a name, but then the Ironman distance, and it was Triathlon UK. I think it was one. It was somewhere in the Midlands. So, but the distances were
exactly the same.
Exactly the same. Just because the entry fee, it was significantly different, and then the time wise, because I had so many events and challenges going on, so I needed something to fit in my calendar, and that one kind of fitted me quite well.
So so I'm going to ask the questions that normally people would ask. So obviously you can swim, you can cycle, and you can run.
Yeah, kind of. I think again, one of the challenge you can make, it's swimming, because I taught myself swimming quite late. So I was 12 years old when I taught myself swimming. So, and the water, it's never my to go place. I'm happy to be near the water, but to get into the water, it's not me. I don't feel that desire. So that's probably was one of the challenges. So but then in that period of time, since, you know, I signed up an event, I've been in the water only twice. So one was New Year's Day, where you just get in the water and come out, you know, you're not doing any swimming, you know, it's just kind of cold water therapy. And another one, I can't remember, it was again, is just something very, very short. So the way I can say, you know, I've done Ironman without swimming training. So, but you know, when I read rules, you know, and I read, you know, somewhere else, you know, that actually it doesn't matter how you swim as long as you swim. Because I had a fear of putting my head underwater. So for me, it was playing along, you know, very, I think it was stressing me a little bit, you know, that I have to put my water under. But you know what? I exited water, the last one. And I did the distance, you know, it was not a problem, you know, and it didn't bother me that I was the last one, but then with the cycling and running, I caught up with other people.
Yeah, you
And I
never.
think it was
Yeah, I was
everything in
gonna say,
my mind to, you know, because I thought to myself, if I'll do swimming in time, you know, what needed to do, I'm fine rest of it, you know, it's, and then, you know, slowly, and I wasn't the last one to finish, which is, again, it wasn't the aim. For me, it's my challenge, you know, but then it just shows, you know, you can't be put off by, you know, if you think, you know, you're too slow or you can't do it. It's just, you never know.
no.
So
And you specifically in a triathlon, you're never going to win it on a swim. The swim is always one of those things you just have to get it done, and then everything gets made up on the bike and the run. They're the two disciplines, but also you never know what's going to happen. So and it's a bit like the Apex Challenge. So with the Apex Challenge, it's 2 days. So you may smash day one, and day two you may kind of implode, or it might be that day one you struggle, but then your body goes, okay, well, if you're going to keep doing this, I might as well just surrender and just allow it to happen. And then day two, you might absolutely fly and glide. And you never know. I was talking in a previous interview with another guy who says the uphill he is going to love. It's going to be, that's where he is going to attack. But the downhill is going to be where he has to take things a lot more slower because of some physical restrictions he has with his body. But it's learning what's going to work for you and what's going to work against you. So, okay, so there's so many things I want to talk about. But okay, so let's just scan through. So we're gonna go back to another comment you made earlier on, which was your little home gym. Now I have a couple of questions about this because I have a little home gym. Mine's in my garage and stuff. Yours is on your kind of like your veranda.
Veranda, yes.
Okay. Correct. But you say that every day, 5 a.m., you're out there, regardless of the weather.
Yep.
Okay. Now, there's a lot of people out there that do the 5 a.m. club and are part of the 5 a.m. club. And there's a lot of people out there on the 5 a.m. club that go, oh, it's amazing. It's magical. I never struggle with waking up at 5 a.m. and making everything look like it's just picturesque and serene. I want to ask the question of, one, is it actually picturesque and serene at 5 a.m. every single day? And two, how do you kind of motivate yourself to keep doing that and to kind of push yourself to get up at that point? Or has it now become, over a period of time, just absolute kind of non-negotiable that has to happen to set up your day?
At this point, it's my normal. You know, I'm not even thinking about it. So I have a routine where it's 5 o'clock, I'm there and doing, but it sets me for the day. You know, and again, it's going back to that, you know, anxiety and unsettling, and you know, there were a few times where I missed in the past, and my day, it's just like my heart rate starts racing. But again, you can take it both two ways. You know, one way is like, oh, you worry because you haven't done exercise, or you worry because you've done, you know. It's probably I haven't explained very well, but and I read about it that sometimes it's not the exercise itself what worries you, but because you haven't done that part of routine, it worries you.
Yes.
And I'm in a happy place, you know, when I'm doing those exercises, and it's just like putting my music. Even, you know, sometimes it's hard to get up. I put the headphones on, and I'm completely transformed, you know, to my place. And yes, at 5 o'clock at the moment, it's pitch black, you know, it's nothing. And I have to say, but I cheated few times because I done upper body workouts indoors, you know, but again, it's still at 5 o'clock.
Still at the time, yeah.
but I love just being outdoors, something, the sound, obviously I have headphones, but when I go there, the sound of rain or the wind or the elements, it adds to that achievement feel, where it's like, yes, another one is ticked, another one is ticked. And I'm those that I have a theory that, when I'm older, I want still to be strong, and I want to be, climbing mountains, and I
Yeah.
want to do crazy things, and for that, I need to put work in, because I don't want to sit, at home and watch those adventures on TV. I want to be there.
100%. I couldn't agree more. Like one of my favorite things, I used to love watching people doing all these events and these crazy competitions and things. And in my head, I just kind of went, well, why are you just watching them? Why aren't you being part of them? Why aren't you doing this? I was like, surely it's going to be more fun. And I think of it as playtime. I'm like, surely
Yeah.
it's more fun playing, because as an adult, a lot of us, we tend to think, oh, that's it. We're adult. We've got to work. We've got to raise our children. We've got to look after our home. Playtime is going out for a dinner. And I'm like, no, playtime should still be running around in the mud and jumping in the snow and running into the sea. And it should be play. As an adult, we should keep playing. And I think that's one of the things that keeps us kind of as young as we can for as long as we can. So I get it. And I mean, I suppose one of the questions that I was kind of thinking is, if how did you start with with getting up? Can you remember? I mean, how long have you been doing your 5 a.m.s for?
Oh, now quite a few years now.
A few
So,
years. So,
yeah. So, and I think again, it came to because I was doing beat camp. I was qualified for World Championship, so I
oh
went
wow.
to do obstacle course World Championship, and it just gave me another layer of that motivation that actually, if I work more, I can be stronger. I can be next year. I can be better. Um, so that's kind of, after every event, I think if I've done quite well, it just gave me that another layer of motivation. What actually I need to work harder. I need to do better.
And did the 5 a.m. kind of starts? Did that just come about because it naturally just fit in with your lifestyle? Kids obviously being busy, was it just, do you know what, 5 a.m. is a great time when no one else is up. I've got a window when I can do stuff. So actually it works. Or did you kind of go, actually, do you know what? Getting up at 5 a.m. is going to help me develop that mental toughness. It's going to help me develop that kind of strength. Or did that not even enter into your mind at that kind
Mm,
of time?
no, it didn't enter my mind, because I wanted to exercise, and my thinking was, when can I fit it? Because I
Yeah.
had to a bit later start up, so I need to walk the dog in the morning, and then I thought the only time I can do it's in the morning, where there's no distractions. No one comes to me and say, oh, I want to feed, I want to be driven somewhere. So there was
Mm-hmm.
no distraction for me at 5 a.m. So it's kind of, when I started, it just stuck to, I stuck to it, because again, in the evening after day at work, which my work is quite physical as well, so sometimes I just don't have energy to do anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that 5 a.m. it's just kind of started me looking for reason, how can I fit in what
Okay.
works best for me.
All right. So I've got a few questions then. So these ones are a little bit, we're kind of coming in. So these are a little bit more specific things to the Apex. So with the Apex Challenge, obviously, so this is going to be quite an awful lot of climbing. An awful a lot of ascent that we're going to be tackling on the Apex Challenge. So have you started to think about your training for this, and have you kind of thought that how you're going to mix your training up? Is there anything that you're going to introduce more of or less of, or are you just going to kind of keep quite steady on just following the same principles and then just see how it goes?
Well, the only probably thing that I'm going to add more, it's more mileage on my legs. But then, I'm doing strength training as it is. And then everywhere I go, again, I just look for natural ways to train. It's like, I don't know if you see in my post a few days ago. Um,
Yes.
even the slope, I was like, it's inclined, so shall we do inclines, back and forth? Because, to go to the mountain, for me, it's a long way to drive. So
Yeah.
I'm working around what I have, and rather than thinking, oh, I can't do that because I don't have the environment for that. So my mindset is completely different. I'm working with what I have. So even lots of people doing steps inclines, at the gym.
Hmm.
I don't have step inclines. So what I do, I just up and down, in a step. So you're putting elevation and up
Yeah.
and down, up and down. So again, it's the same movement, but it's just in my environment. So
Yeah.
again, I have a few hills, where I'm going to do hill sprints, just to help me with inclines, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's so many elements in a completing challenge. It's not just going up and down. It's nutrition. It's like how you fueling your body. How you
Hmm.
the body temperature, the electrolytes. So again, going back to doing all the ultra marathons, so then it taught me how to manage lots of things. So again, it happened gradually. So it didn't happen, it's like I know everything, and I'm still learning lots of things. But doing ultra marathons, and some of them, I haven't completed, but it taught me things which I can apply to the longer events, so to the Apex challenge, I guess.
Well, that was one thing. That was one of my next questions I was going to ask. Is though, are there any kind of not tips or tricks, but are there any kind of sort of key learning experiences you've had from the ultras, more specifically with things like nutrition, for example? Is there anything that you've gone, right, for me, what I know for my nutrition, if I'm doing something over a 24-hour period, I've got to focus on this, this, and this. So is there any sort of like lessons that you've learned that maybe like you can kind of like share?
Well, for everyone works different things. So for
Yeah.
me, the cake all the way.
I love it.
Any type of cake, and I worked out like lemon drizzle cake specifically, works for me. And I run and do long distance events and a natural feed. So I don't, I can't advise on things, on a gel. So all people have to work
Yeah.
out what it works for them. So for me, it's real food when I can chew, and just try beforehand, what it
Yeah.
works for you the best, because elevation and the exhaustion and the time spent on the legs can affect your stomach, and it comes to the time sometimes where even your normal food you're taking, you can't accept that, your stomach can't accept. So it's all about training, and you have to start now, and with long distance events, you have to learn how to move forward and eat at the same time.
Yes.
Oh, but it's just for me, that it works. I guess no Apex challenge is not like you have a cutoff time where you have to cover the distance in that. But for me, it doesn't matter how slow you go, but go forward. And I always know at the pit stops, I would take what I need to eat and then just walk and eat, and that's what you have to train, because it's not everybody can walk and eat, because you're putting extra
Yeah.
pressure to your body.
Yeah, it's very different because obviously you're like normally when you're exercising, the blood is flushing to muscles and that's what your body focuses on. But then when you turn around and say, no, I want a whole load of blood to go to the stomach and I want the stomach to start working, your body starts to react differently. And I remember when I was doing a lot of the training for my Ironmans and things, like some of my friends on the bikes, even though they would do long rides, they were very used to riding for long periods of time, but not eating. And I would be there and I would start pulling out bananas and I'd pull out little bites of flapjacks and things like that. And they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm hungry. I'm eating. I don't know what you boys are doing, but I need some energy to keep this rolling. Because if I don't put stuff in, my body's just going to stop. I need a constant trickle. So then that brings me kind of to my next question was, is there, or do you have any pieces of kit or equipment that you kind of use daily, whether it be for like, I don't know, a particular pair of shoes that you go, do you know what? These are great. I love these. Obviously it's individual, or is there like a jacket that you go, this for me, I love that jacket? Or is there any pieces of kit that you have found really particularly useful?
Well, I don't have lots of kit. I just use the same one, so I wouldn't know the difference.
Oh, okay.
I'm not. So I have, and I like to use to the maximum, the same things.
Yeah.
So actually, I need to buy new shoes because my shoes is falling apart. So But one thing which I read somewhere or I heard somewhere, saying, I think in the podcast, that have your toilet bag. So basically, in the bag, have tissues,
Yeah.
and pee bags and whatever, and gel, antibacterial gel, because long event you will eat, and somehow it has to come out.
Yep. It does. 100%.
So and there's so many times where you get hit by those problems, and then you don't have anything. So that's one probably key to know why it's always in my bag. And then electrolytes. I think lots of people underestimate electrolytes. Even if it's not not warm, but you're still sweating, you need, and even, again, it's learning, for me. I didn't know anything about electrolytes, so the importance of it, so you can't forget that, I guess.
Well, you're the second person that said about the electrolytes for sure in the past couple of days that I've been chatting to, but also randomly today, Ben Fogel was talking about how actual Everest now, all the climbers are going to be made to bag and take away all of their waste, which is quite right, because a lot of the mountains, because of the climates and because of the altitude stuff, things don't erode the way that they're supposed to. So actually, I know this is a bit of a random thing to talk about, but it comes up, it's part of the world. So making sure that, as we say, leave nothing but your footprints there, nothing should be left there. So it is key. So, okay, so I have got just a couple more questions for you. It's been such a pleasure talking to you. So, couple of questions. Number one, if there was anyone that's still thinking about signing up for the Apex Challenge, or any other kind of endurance event or something like that, what piece of advice, or what would you say to them if they're kind of sat on the fence and they're not quite sure about whether or not they should give it a go?
We're not getting any younger. So I think with that in mind, if you want to see the world, if you want to see the mountains, if you want to see the trails where you can't drive and, and stand there, just do it, because I think doing an event is such an amazing way to do that, because you have the safety team, you have support, at the pit stops, where all the tools are there for you. You're not on your own. You looked after. And that's my theory was, climbing the mountains, where before, in an event, because if I'm doing on my own, there's lots of unknown. But when you're doing, in an event, you meet lots of like-minded people. They help you to achieve what you're trying to achieve. The distance or the height. And just to see the world and to have an adventure, as you said before, we all have inner child in us, and that's where you have to release it, because to sit at home and just to think about it, well, it's nothing going to happen.
Yeah, quite right.
Just thinking about
nothing's going to happen. Okay, final three questions I've got for you then. Daily routine. We all kind of have different daily routines, but do you have anything that you do? I know you have your 5 a.m. club that you're in, but do you have any other kind of daily routines or any other like non-negotiables? These are things that I must do every day to ensure that I'm moving forward, or I'm living the way I need to live. Is there any other like non-negotiables you have?
Wow, that's a tricky question. Because I'm most of the time, most of the day on my feet. So for me, to kind of movement is not the issue, I guess. But what I'm trying to do to incorporate the little adventure in any day, to see the things, which is, for me, it's very important, because I'm not all the time, can go to the mountains, even though I so want to have a craving to go to the mountains and do the trails. But obviously with the family commitment, with the life, you can't do that. So what I'm trying to do now, just to see what is around me, and to use that to fulfill my adventures side. So even, to go, at the weekend to the to explore local trails, to look at the map, I can do that. Where, the cost and time doesn't really affect as much, my everyday life. I guess, it's not that answer I'm giving to you. You know, it's not everyday routine, but it's kind of goes there where I'm looking
No.
for small things in every day where it fulfills my adventure side.
Yeah,
Because
I
I'm
get
really
it. I get
craving
that.
for that.
I get that. I get that. That's good. Okay, so the final two questions, and these are the two questions we ask everyone at the end of the interviews, is number one, what is your Everest? What is your mountain? What's the thing that you are trying to attain? What's that? What is your Everest?
Oh, I just want to continue to feel that craving for adventure. Because there was times where I think exhaustion and pressure, it's kind of you don't feel that craving, and I didn't like that. I like to crave because that's where ideas coming from, that's where the motivation coming from, that's where the hunger for adventure coming from. So I don't want that feeling to stop. So that's why I'm doing those little things to have that little fire kind of going in me.
I love it. Beautiful. And then if you could sum up the Apex Challenge in one word, what would that word be?
Experience. Because I'm living for experience. It's new experience. It's like 48 hours, so I never done 48 hours. So yes, I guess it would be experience. And it's daunting experience. It's like when you start thinking about time frame and then elevation and but they're putting down to experience. Whatever the outcome of it, it's going to be such an amazing experience. Meeting people, achieving unachievable, and that's experience.
Brilliant. Awesome. Listen, Mrs. G, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you this morning. Thank you so much for chatting to us. It's been a wonderful experience, and I cannot wait to actually meet you in the flesh and have a load more chat and conversation and banter. It's going to be great. So thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. It was amazing.
Okay, right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here on the next Interview Apex series. I mean, you can see the people that are signing up for this. You can tell the energy that's going to be up that Helvellyn Peak. It's going to be electric. It is going to be, it's going to be unmissable. You're going to love it. It's going to be a fantastic journey. So thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for watching the deep dive. And don't forget, like, subscribe, follow along to the channel. There'll be a whole load more content coming, and we'll catch you in the next one.